Hello viewers, we are here once again at Entrepreneural restaurant in Eldoret town, and the last time we were here we were discussing the 6th Global Entrepreneurship Summit, and today we just want to do the postmortem of the same. In my panel today I have
Dr. Nasiuma, Senior Lecturer of Entrepreneurship, Moi University.
Hello viewers, I'm David Sergon, Lecturer of Entrepreneurship, Moi University.
Stay tuned as we take you through the session. My name is Regina Akinyi. Gentlemen, the summit is over, and would you just mind giving us the overview of what the summit entailed? I'll begin with you, Dr. Nasiuma.
Thank you, Regina. I want to say that the summit went on very well, and some of the key observations that we made during the summit firstly include the issues pertaining to women and the youth. And as you may realize that women and the youth play a key role in any economy. This country has the highest number of young people, and therefore if we can be able to tap into their innovative abilities, in their risk-taking capacity, we may have really a lot of new products created. Women also play an important role, and you look at, for example, the United States of America. Women have permeated every facet of the economic life of that country, and that has been manifested in firstly the development of entrepreneurship, the good governance, and also innovation, putting that country at the top of other countries in the world. The second aspect I wish to focus on is corruption. Corruption featured very much during the GES summit, and we needed to appreciate the fact that corruption, especially in this country, has been a very big challenge. But many times people will want to find out what is corruption and what types of corruption do exist. We can say that corruption is engagement in unlawful activities that discriminate or deny other people opportunities to gain from the services that they provide. We can say there are three major types of corruption. We have administrative corruption. This is basically perpetrated by people in administration, which hinges on the governance aspect. For example, you go to an office and you are not given the services, but you are asked to do something extra before that service is provided. That constitutes administrative corruption. The second category is political corruption. Essentially, this pertains to the political elites, where opportunities are allocated on the basis of political orientation or political favorism. The final type of corruption is grand corruption, whereby corruption is engaged in on a wider scale, massive scale, that really diverts the resources or opportunities to a massive scale. Now, what causes corruption? We need to note that sometimes the cultural base of a given nation could be a fertile ground for corruption, and people will have believed that engaging in corruption is a fruitful activity. Politics could also be a contributor to the enhancement of corruption. Thirdly, poor governance and leadership could also contribute to corruption. The key question now we need to ask ourselves is, how can we combat corruption? We know that most of the entrepreneurs hardly accept the impact of corruption in their enterprises. They will always tell you that my enterprise is not corrupt, my enterprise is very good. But notwithstanding that, there is need for enterprises to follow certain golden rules. For example, the leadership should acknowledge and have commitment of existence of corruption, and then after doing that, set standards that should be followed. They should not also accept any form of engagement in corrupt activities in the organization. Leaders in enterprises should also set up standards, ethical standards, that should help to rid corruption. I have dealt with corruption to a great extent, but the simple reason is that corruption has a negative effect on entrepreneurship in the sense that it misallocates resources, it enhances the cost, it creates social, economic, and political instability in the sense that people become frustrated, people feel deprived of opportunities, and in overall we find that we miss out on national prosperity.
And Dr. Nasima, you've exclusively covered on corruption. Which type is mostly affecting us as Kenyans?
Thank you, Regina. Kenya as a country is affected by all the three categories of corruption. And many times our leadership has stated the existence of corruption as constituting a national disaster. And this is being perpetuated by virtually most of the people in this country. We can say that essentially corruption entails three things. The first one is taking or giving bribes. When you give or take bribes, you are basically engaging in corruption. Influencing peddling is another one. You know a given person and you use your position and relationship to make that person make a decision in favor of another person for your benefit. Thirdly, the other type of corruption is facilitation payment, where you pay something small or you give some tea to make somebody, work or do things in your favor. So we essentially need to address corruption from the three perspectives.
Before I look at the aspects which were addressed during the summit or surrounding the summit, I want first of all to pay tribute to the fellows who organized this particular summit. It was well choreographed and every person was really impressed by how the summit was organized. Secondly, I want to appreciate the fact that the aspect of entrepreneurship has been brought to the front. This has been a very, very unique concept which has not been appreciated maybe in Kenya, but after the summit I think every Kenyan today is able to know what entrepreneurship is all about. Even today we are aware that entrepreneurship in Kiswahili is ujasiri ya mali, which is actually a phenomenon which was not known by many people. Having said that, then I think the visit by Obama gave us some light on many aspects, as Dr. has put it, but I want to mention maybe one or two. One is that he mentioned issues to do with security, and with the global terror that has affected our country and within the region, I think we are now trying to use this opportunity to at least marshal resources to combat this kind of terrorism. And I want to believe that America, through Obama, has been able to be very focal on how to help Kenya try to combat this terrorism. The essence of doing this is that at the end of the day, we'll be able to create maybe an enabling environment for any investor, both local and global, to come and invest in Kenya. And also the aspects of that kind of enhanced security will mean that we'll improve our tourism sector. We'll reduce the travel advisories which are given by other countries, so much so that at least we'll improve our economic pursuits as a nation. Secondly, Obama also mentioned something about democracy, and he did mention the role of civil society in trying to improve democracy in the country. You are aware that for entrepreneurs to thrive, they must have some certain level of liberties. And these liberties are very important because you need to do business wherever you want to do business. You need to transfer maybe to other regions to do business. And if we appreciate the fact that every person has equal right through enhanced civil liberties, I think we are able to really enhance the position of an entrepreneur in Kenya. So I think over and above mentioning issues to do with corruption, issues to do with democracy and security, I think we are now creating an enabling environment which has really put Kenya into the picture in terms of a destination for investment. And I want to believe that after the summit, we'll have many foreign investors and local investors rolling their sleeves and perhaps maybe participating in this kind of entrepreneurship activities in Kenya.
And gentlemen, we know that different stakeholders that attended the summit benefited either directly or indirectly. Maybe beginning with the indirect benefits. What's your opinion? I'll begin with you, Dr.
Well, thank you, Regina, for that question. Owing to the organization of the Global Entrepreneurship Summit, there are various indirect benefits which we could have realized as a country. And firstly, the national entrepreneurship psychologically as a country, the people of this country have an entrepreneurship, developed an entrepreneurship thinking, and in this regard they are cultivating a sense of mission in terms of what they really want to do. They are also focusing on product, customer vision, because they have realized that whatever you produce, there must be a product at the end of it all. There must be a customer at the end of it all. And the importance of a customer implies that there is value that will be created. Thirdly, we do expect that the spirit of self-inspiration among the Kenyans is now heightened. And out there, when you talk to potential entrepreneurs, they keep on telling you that now they have discovered what it is, what it takes to become an entrepreneur. The second aspect, like my colleague has just said, the issue of security, I think is an indirect benefit that most of the entrepreneurs have alluded to. They are more confident, and not just by the virtue of the fact that we have been assured support from a friendly nation, but also the coming of the President of the United States of America has demonstrated that Kenya is a place to go by entrepreneurs. We have also had the extension of the AGOA by another 10 years, and that has serious implications to this country in terms of entrepreneurship and value creation. We're going to have many people engaged in related activities that support the AGOA agreement with the United States of America. That in essence implies more jobs, more income in terms of foreign exchange, more engagement of our people. We also have another benefit pertaining to the proposed direct flights from the United States of America to this country, and that has serious implications in terms of our enhanced foreign exchange earning. It is alluded that about 100,000 tourists from America come to this country. I do expect that there are going to be more tourists, notwithstanding the fact that we have a number of Kenyans who work in the United States of America and who are doing investment here. I tend to think that we are going to have a better investment, enhanced investment opportunities in this country. We also have the visa being provided for 5 years. That is good for our students. That is good for our entrepreneurs. And I do expect that educational opportunities in entrepreneurship in the United States of America is going to be enhanced. And the young people who are likely to participate in these entrepreneurship training programs are likely to be of great value to this country.
One of the indirect benefits which I do believe is quite significant for this global summit is the global exposure that Kenya has gotten from this summit. And I want to say that most countries are now aware that Kenya is one of the best investment destinations. You can see the kind of companies that really attended this summit. You saw the giants in technology, you saw companies that deal with manufacturing. Talk about the Microsoft, talk about the IBM, talk about the Google, talk about even the Shark Tank gurus who are there. In fact, it demonstrates the fact that Kenya can indeed be a very, very good destination. So we've really gotten a global picture and every investment the firm can be able to really come to Kenya, put their money, and then be able to really succeed. So I do believe that exposure is very important, and it's indeed indirect to us. The other issue that is also important is the infrastructure that we are talking about. When the US government finances some of the infrastructure, I think it will go into a great way in helping entrepreneurs succeed. If you look at the funding that has been given to, say, energy, clean energy for that matter, I think there is a lot of funds that have been put in this. So you look at companies like General Electric and others have committed maybe about several billions of money to come up with 1,100 megawatts of solar and wind power, which actually will be put into our national grid. And in so doing, I think we'll have maybe affordable energy at the end of the day. Other companies which have also come in place are companies like IBM. IBM has really pumped in 6 billion to universities in Africa, and a greater chunk of these universities are from Kenya. About 50 out of 80 are in Kenya, and the intention of this is actually to train and to at least maybe empower young entrepreneurs to appreciate maybe technology, and in so doing I think we'll be able to have a lot of young Kenyans who can be able to use technology, and then we can be able to export that technology to other countries. So I think such companies are doing very well. If you look at the Tony Elumelu Foundation, it has been doing a lot of work in trying to help entrepreneurs, especially women, and he has committed about 10 billion to do the same. Other institutions like the Overseas Private Investment Corporation has actually aggregated almost 100 billion Kenya shillings, which will help entrepreneurs in various sectors, and this has been given to institutions like the Equity Bank, about 20 billion. Others have gone to the Goldman Sachs initiative. And these are meant to really filter down to the entrepreneurs who want to use this. So I want to believe that when we have such kind of companies participating in their contribution in terms of financial gain, I think it will be able to really filter down to the entrepreneurs. So I want to imagine that when we do all this, it will be very important. Another issue that I want to stress is that right now the national government is trying to really lease about 38 billion worth of health equipment. And you saw during the summit, General Electric has proposed to use some 1.3 billion to train our health staff to now to use this. And in so doing, I think we'll be able to really improve our health sector in Kenya. So generally, there are issues that are critical, and we've seen also the local players coming in. Look at the Barclays Bank. They have given our $1 million shillings as a prize for those who will win in the entrepreneurship competition. Look at KCB. KCB has given 1 billion to support entrepreneurs. Look at Chase Bank. Chase Bank have committed 60 billion. Kenya shillings to really loan to entrepreneurs in Kenya. So we've seen the global players, we've seen the local players giving all this to the entrepreneurs. But more importantly, the direct benefits now are to these individual entrepreneurs, fellows who have been able to get this money, and they'll be able to use the money to advance their ideas. If you look at like Mawingu Networks, which deals with wireless connectivity using solar powered systems, they have been given 400 million Kenya shillings, which is actually huge sums of money for an entity like that. So we'll be expecting maybe some of the local entrepreneurs who have benefited directly to really roll out their infrastructure in Kenya. So there are many others whom we've not really heard how might have been given, but some have also had some contact with the global players, and therefore maybe the ideas have been taken. They'll be able to incubate the ideas. If the ideas are seen to be worthwhile investing in, I think we are going to see many entrepreneurs having all this. And generally, I think as Dr. puts it, the national side in terms of entrepreneurship is a very interesting phenomenon, which will of course have the ripple effect in almost every sector of the economy. So I think we've really benefited from this, and it is indeed a milestone for Kenya in terms of entrepreneurship.
And we also know that there are entrepreneurs who didn't make it to the summit for one reason or another. What advice can you give to such people who didn't make it to that place? I'll begin with you, Doc.
There are many entrepreneurs who didn't get the opportunity to participate, including myself. But what I can say is that to date, the entrepreneurial spirit has germinated. It is the responsibility of each one of us to take action, and in so doing there are a number of things that we must do. For example, we need to enhance our networks. The networks will give birth to partnerships, and the partnerships can traverse even the global arena in terms of global entrepreneurship. We generally say networks are very important, and entrepreneurs who cultivate networks are able to grow their enterprises much faster than those who do not engage in networks. And again, we need to realize that beginning with the idea generation up to growth of the enterprise, networks are extremely essential. The second aspect that those who didn't attend should take advantage of is the mentoring. Mentoring is an important aspect in the entrepreneurial process, given the fact that basically you'll be getting free advice which you may not pay for, and this advice will help you get a launching pad for your ideas, and you can be able to refine the ideas and implement appropriately. Another aspect that is of benefit to us is the protection of intellectual property. We find that a number of young people who may have come up with innovations have not been able to actualize them, owing to the fact that other entrepreneurs who have the skill of capturing the idea faster have been able to take those ideas and implement them. So it is important from this summit that you need to protect your inventions through appropriate patenting with the requisite authority. Like for example, in Kenya we have an institute of property rights that you can be able to protect your ideas from. And I want also to say that on the aspect of global entrepreneurship, there have been a lot of organizations which participated, and they are looking for partners in this country. And already we can see that some of the countries, like organizations in Germany, have already moved their headquarters to Nairobi. I think that is just the beginning of great things for this country.
In addition to what Dr. has said, entrepreneurs who didn't attend this should also appreciate that one important thing in entrepreneurship is identifying the opportunity. They need to understand that an opportunity must be identified, and that opportunity, if you put on a weighing scale, it must be an opportunity that can actually be actualized into a reality, and it will add value to the persons who will use it. So if you are running a business and you see how you can perhaps maybe innovate your business, that is an opportunity that you will see. So they must appreciate the fact that they have the skills of identifying opportunities. Secondly, they should also understand how to execute, and execution is a whole process of trying to run the business right from the time when you set up you work on the idea, you have the opportunity, you try to really provide the resources for that opportunity to become and actualize the product. So they need to really have the skills on how to execute this. And finally, the issue of financing is another issue that we need to have entrepreneurs who didn't attend appreciate. Right now, being a woman and being a youth is a privilege, because much of the resources were actually channeled to youth and women. And if you look at the partners who participate in this conference, I think most of them were able to really give a lot of funds to this. So the most important thing is for us to really domesticate this kind of information, try to pass the information to those entrepreneurs who did not really attend, so that they'll know where to get these funds. If it is maybe funds for youth, we'll be able to know which kind of institutions will grant these particular loans. If it is for women, the same thing, so that you will be able to really access this and appreciate maybe the kind of requirements needed by these institutions to give these loans. So I think if we try to really democratize the information down the line, I think the entrepreneurs who did not attend to this will be able to benefit from all that.
And gentlemen, my director is telling me that our time is over and we have to stop there. And maybe before we do that, let me have your final comments. I'll begin with you, Dr. Nashima.
Thank you, Regina. I want to say that the Global Entrepreneurship Summit defines a historic moment for this country. And today, when you look at a majority of Kenyans, their spirit of nationhood, spirit of entrepreneurship has been ignited. We are now prepared to move on to the realization of the Kenya Vision 2030. And I expect the road will be very smooth as we strive to that important achievement for this country.
Thank you, Regina. As Daktari puts it, I think we need not to lose momentum of this spirit which we have. We need to really work extremely hard to ensure that entrepreneurs who are existing will have their game. They need to scale up their operations, and those who are intending to really join this should join as entrepreneurs and participate in the nation. And I want to believe that the national government should actually set some sort of timelines where we can be able to measure the achievements of this. So I want to believe that we'll have a certain identified framework within which we'll be able to really do what we call scorecarding of what we achieve over time, so that we don't lose focus of the entire summit. We cannot just make it an event. We must make now a process where we'll be able to evaluate the effects of this summit maybe in the next 5 or so years.
We leave it at that point. Thank you so much, viewers, for staying tuned to your #1 TV channel. I've been your host, Regina Akinyi.